Good evening. It's great to be with you. Let me thank the leadership of this great organization, Maury, who is a bundle of energy, as I'm sure you all know, does great work for this organization. Mike Bain and Alan Fagan, who I met with a few weeks back, are tremendous advocates on a very important issue, as you all know. Now, I feel very comfortable here. You may not know this about me, but I, too, am Orthodox. I'm Greek Orthodox. That's got to count for something, right? But in all seriousness, as the child of immigrants who grew up in World War II Europe, the experiences of your community are something that has been ingrained in me. I don't know how many of you know this, but the largest per capita loss of Jewish population in Europe during the war was in northern Greece, in the Salonika area. And I grew up with very proud stories from my parents of people like Archbishop Damaskinos from that area, who stood up to the Nazis when they were demanding lists of all the Jews in the area he represented. And he actually gave and authorized all his churches to give Christian baptismal documentation to the Jews who were fleeing the area, saving thousands of people at the time. And there's a famous story where he was threatened with execution, and he turned around and told the Nazi commander, if you're going to execute me, he was threatened by execution by firing squad, I should point out. He says, our traditions are that our religious leaders are hung when they're executed, not shot. So please respect our traditions. But as a result of his efforts, he's recognized at Yad Vashem as one of the righteous among the nations. And it's those kind of stories, in addition to my father's personal story, where the Nazis torched his entire village because there was an insurgency taking place there, and that was the punishment. He had to sleep with his 7 brothers and sisters in the dirt for months while they were going through that. Obviously, many people went through much worse, but it is something that I have always felt an obligation to remember. There's so many things we have to remember. Now we remember, of course, 9/11. We remember, but the Holocaust was another thing altogether, and so that is something that is always with me, and I know with many others. So, with that being said, I do also want to talk about a little bit about the state of play in New York State government, and particularly with the Senate Democrats. I know Todd Kaminsky had to leave early, but he is a tremendous champion of your issues. And of course, right here to my right is Shelley Mayer, a great senator, and our point person on education issues, which I know is of great interest, obviously, to teach NYS. My assembly colleagues, good to see all of them as well. Let me say this. There are a lot of people who seek political advantage by dividing and scaring. And you hear it a lot. Watch out for the Democrats. They're crazy. They're not going to support the things you support. And I'm here to tell you that that's nonsense. I myself am a public school product, traditional public school product in New York City. Somehow I got through all that and made it here. But that is not to say that because I'm a supporter of public schools, I'm not a supporter of non-public schools. The non-public schools play a vital role in our educational system. About 15% of our students, we all know the public school system is tremendously overcrowded and overburdened. 15% of the students in schools in New York State go to non-public schools. So imagine if we did not have a thriving non-public school system, and those kids then got poured further into an already overtaxed public school system. And obviously we want those kids to succeed. It's over 400,000 kids in New York State in the non-public school system. And many of us supported the good work of Teach NYS in this past budget, where we did secure funding for security and for STEM funding. So part of my message tonight is have no fear. You have friends in the Democratic Senate. You have champions like Todd Kaminsky. You have great friends like Shelley Mayer. And I can speak for our leader, Andrea Stewart Cousins, who, by the way, will be the first female leader in the history of New York State. That we are here to work with you, to listen to the important concerns that you have, and to help you alleviate the burden of tuition that is on your kids by allowing New York State and authorizing New York State to be as supportive as they can be under the current system. So I also wear another hat. So in addition to my duties for the Democratic Conference, I also chair the campaign committee for the Democrats. And so the other thing I'm here to tell you is we're going to win. So a lot of people this time of year, we're a month out, they like to hear rumors, who's winning, who's losing, what do the polls say. Well, I have the advantage of getting to look at all of the data and all of the information and all of the polls. And we're going to be doing very, very well in a month. And so you may well be in the company of the education chair of the state senate by the time we're done in a month with Shelley Mayer. And so we are very anxious to continue to foster this relationship, to continue the dialogue. Someone was telling me, I think it was Maury, that you're expecting 2,000 people in Albany next year. So I look forward to meeting those 2,000 people and having our leadership address them and continuing to work to make sure that all kids in New York State, public school, non-public school, or whatever, are getting the education they deserve and getting an education that's affordable. So I want to thank you all for inviting me to be here. Thank you for having me. I don't know how many Yankee fans are in the audience, but there's something going on tonight. No score, I'm told yet. Okay, I'm a Mets fan, so I don't even. I'm just trying to help the rest of you out. But in all seriousness, I am thrilled to have been introduced to your leadership and to get the opportunity to meet more of you, and as we go forward into a future together, to continuing to work together for our kids, which is what this is all about. So thank you all very, very much, and enjoy the evening.